Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot, and in today's video featuring the Phoenix A320, let's talk about single engine taxi out for departure. Our pushback has just been completed and our ground crew is just about disconnecting, and since we are at a pretty lightweight today with only just below 100 passengers, we are going to do a single engine taxi out. Now there's a couple of things that we need to keep in mind when doing this, and I'm going to talk over them as we commence our first engine start. But let's go ahead and commence our first engine start first. Normally in the A320 you would start engine number 2 first and then engine number 1, with the background that engine number 2 supplies the yellow hydraulic system which supplies the alternate brakes. Now, if we want to do single engine taxi out, however, we need to start engine 1 first. So for that reason we need to carefully check the brake accumulator pressure and use the yellow electric hydraulic pump as needed in order to make sure that the accumulator pressure stays where it should be. Alright, once we've looked at that, we can commence our engine 1 start, so let's go ahead and do that. Starter on, and then engine 1 start. Once engine 1 is started, we can then go over the procedure. Now, while our engine is starting, let's quickly talk about a couple of prerequisites for single engine taxi out. The procedure should be considered only for anticipated taxi times of 15 minutes or more, otherwise it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Respect the warm-up time when performing single engine taxi out, which is 2 minutes for the CFM 56 engines, and the procedure is not allowed under any of the following conditions: on slippery taxiways, uphill slopes, high gross weight, low visibility condition, or if the wind speed is more than 25 knots and or the gust is more than 10 knots. The procedure is performed by the pilot monitoring as a read and do straight out of the FCOM. Alright, talking about which, let's go ahead. So, we have checked our brake accumulator pressure and if necessary use the yellow electric pump to pressurize the brake accumulator. You can see it is fine right now. Engine number 1 start, and engine 1 pressurizes the green hydraulic system, providing normal braking. So, once the engine is started, we are going to open the cross bleed. So, air conditioning, cross bleed open. And open the cross bleed valve in order to supply both packs with engine number 1. At this point we are going to apply the after start normal procedure, but keep the APU running and switch the APU bleed to off. And the APU generator is going to provide power for the engine fire extinguisher, prevent electrical transients, and enables galley and IFE operation. Closing the APU bleed prevents engine exhaust gases ingestion into the air conditioning system. Also, we are going to delay the ECAM status check and the wing anti-ice setting until all engines are started. So, at this point, engine 1 is started. Let's conduct the normal after start procedure with the mentioned exceptions. And I just noticed I forgot this. That has nothing to do with this procedure. You can disregard that. Okay, so before releasing the parking brake, we are going to turn on the yellow electric hydraulic pump, as that pressurizes the yellow hydraulic system, providing nose wheel steering without using the PTU. So, electric hydraulic pump on, and then parking brake can go off, and we can commence our taxi. So, we apply the normal taxi procedure but delay the flight control check until all engines are started and arm the auto brake only after the flight control check. Right, so brakes are off, let's go ahead and get taxiing. We're clear on the right side, clear on the left side. The same provisions apply to taxiing the airplane as do for the single engine taxi after landing, so if you haven't watched that video yet, I can absolutely recommend you to do it now, as it is going to provide some interesting insights into how to taxi the airplane. On this one I want to focus more on the procedure of how to get the remaining engine started, so for general guidance on how to taxi on a single engine, please do refer to the single engine taxi after landing video. Alright, so we need to consider the engine warm-up time before takeoff on the remaining engine. For the CFM56 that is 2 minutes time, so do take that into account. Also remember that usually we will only do this procedure if we anticipate taxi times of 15 minutes or more. So for example in London Heathrow or at Barcelona Airport, you might very well consider this. So the second engine must be started soon enough before takeoff in order to take into account the engine start time and ensure the applicable engine warm-up time as per the AFCOM normal procedures. For engine 2 start and when taxiing in a straight line, note during engine start a slight jerk forward may occur if the brakes are applied while the aircraft is moving, and maintain taxi in a straight line during at least 5 seconds after the selection of the engine 2 master lever to on in order to ensure the PTU auto test is completed. So that's important as we're about to start the remaining engine. So, to conduct the engine start, the yellow electric hydraulic pump must be switched off in order to enable the PTU automatic test during engine 2 start. So, we're now taxiing in a straight line and we have just about 3 or 4 minutes to take off, so this is a very good time to conduct our engine start. So, yellow electric pump off. Do note that you have a minimum of 7 brake applications available using the accumulator pressure, and your normal braking is working, so braking isn't much of a concern right now. Okay then, APU bleed on, and by turning on the APU bleed we can make sure that the APU is actually used in order to start the remaining engine. Okay, we are going to wait 10 seconds, and when those 10 seconds are over, that should be about now, we can start engine number 2 using the normal start procedure. So let's go ahead and do that. Engine 2 start, and keep the airplane going in a straight line for at least 10 seconds. And obviously we need to put the engine master switch to on, otherwise that's not gonna work. Okay, so engine number 2 is starting normally now. We are rolling straight ahead, as we should. Okay, approach on runway 20, clear right, clear left, clear to cross. Alright, engine number 2 is running, so now we need 2 minutes before we can conduct the takeoff, so I'll start the timer up here. And with that done, we can continue with our procedure. So APU off, cross bleeds auto, and then we apply the after start normal procedure, including the ECAM status check and selection of engine 2 anti-ice and wing anti-ice as required. So, once again, engine start selector normal, APU is off, spoilers armed, flaps 2, and that is the after start procedure completed. So let's go ahead with the flight control track. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. So, after start checklist, anti-ice off, ECAM status checked, pitch trim, that's 26.9%, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete. Okay then, auto brake max, and that concludes the single engine taxi out procedure. Now a couple of backgrounds here as to why we turn on the auto brake to max after the flight control track. That's because of the spoiler deployment, and if the spoilers deploy in a certain pattern and the auto brake is selected to max, the plane can sense a rejected takeoff and therefore apply maximum auto braking, and that one we absolutely want to avoid. For For that reason, we only turn the auto brake on after the flight control check has been completed. Alright, that's it guys. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you found this one interesting. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. I would like to thank you very much for flying with me today. Hope that you will enjoy this flight, and I see you all again on the next one. In the meantime, if you're interested in more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And finally, if you really love what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.